I used to work in corporate. I didn't want to be anymore a slave of my desk or just having that 9 to 5 grind for the rest of my life. And I stumbled onto trading. In the past 1.5 years, I was making close to $1 million and trading not with my own capital, but with prop firm capital.
So how much do I need to get started realistically?
I would say anything between $1,000 and $5,000. You can get instantly funded up to $200,000 in capital. Whatever you lose, the firm covers for it.
How many people are out there training people how to trade that are full of shit?
I would say 95%, if not more. Like really famous guy, removed my name from that certificate, added his name, but he left the QR code and it led to my certificate. I kind of called this guy out and it went viral, 500,000 views.
Do I need to be good at math?
No, it's a skill that can be learned by everybody. It's the only business in the world when you want to make more money, it doesn't require more of your time.
How long would it take me to learn enough to deploy it and be profitable?
That's a really good question.
What it is, Brad Lee back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Today in the studio, folks, I've got a real treat for you. Bernd Skorupinski in the house. What's up, Bernd?
Pronounced. Thank you so much for having me here in Vegas.
Excellent. Thank you for coming all the way from Dubai.
That's correct, yes.
Folks, you might want to pay attention if you like making money the easy way. Now, I don't know if it's going to be easy or not.
Exactly. I wanted to interrupt. Usually I don't do that because it's not easy trading, right? It's simple, but it's not easy. There's two different things.
Sounds easy.
Sounds easy, but it's not.
Well, we're going to get into that. But listen up, folks, because, it seems like a killer way to make a living. If you can, if it's real. And again, guys, form your own opinions. I had a guy on here one time that was doing these shopping stores or e-commerce or drop shipping or some shit. Mm-hmm. And, I just talked to him about it. And then, next thing you know, a couple years later, turns out, everyone wasn't happy. And, then people started saying, why'd you put him on your platform? Like, I didn't do an FBI background check on you, but you seem like a clean cut individual. But I do some research, and the research that I'm doing is saying that Bernd Skorupinski is a full-time professional trader with 11 plus years experience and an all-time record holder at FTMO, which is the world's largest proprietary training firm with 120 leaderboard appearances in 18 months. One of the few traders with fully third-party verified track record audited by Alpha Performance Verification Services. And he's the founder of Online Trading Campus, which is a Dubai-regulated, UAE regulated, and they're strict over there, investment consultancies offering comprehensive trading education. So welcome to the show.
Thank you again. And it was quite a good summary.
Well, I want to dig in a little bit because, again, whether it's easy or not, we'll talk about, but it sounds easy, seems easy. Like you get up in the morning, you turn on your computers, you do a little research, you press a few buttons, and then if you're good, supposedly, you go screw off the rest of the day and enjoy your life, which everybody wishes they could do. And then you come home and you find out whether you made it or lost it. Now, that's day trading. You're not a day trader. Exactly. What kind of a trader are you?
So, people classify trading into 3 categories usually. It's like scalping, which is really high frequency trading. So
Scalping.
Let's disregard that because I would never recommend that. It's not sustainable. And then we have day trading, and then you have swing trading. Swing trading looks at setups that you take, that you maybe take 1-2 trades per week, and you can do the analysis, your market analysis during the weekend, place your trades on a Monday, and then maybe use 15 to 30 minutes per day to kind of monitor the market, do some trade management, place your trades, and that's it. Right. And we call this approach set and forget and get alive, because let's face it, this is also the most for the mainstream, for the norm, because everybody has a job, everybody has family, everybody has hobbies, everyone has obligation. They cannot replace one 9-to-5 job with another 9-to-5 job, or they should not have 2 jobs because they can just time-wise, they cannot manage. So that's why people should usually gravitate more towards swing trading because it's just more sustainable. And then they can manage that alongside their job, alongside family, alongside whatever they're doing.
So how did you get into it?
That's quite a long story. Obviously, I'm not a natural born talented trader. By the way, this doesn't exist. Trading is a skill that can be learned by everybody, but it has to be learned. There's no such thing as a talented trader. I used to work in corporate, and I was actually working for Audi Volkswagen, the car brand, just had a normal corporate job. And at some point I decided or felt like the corporate world is not really for me, for the obvious reasons, right? I didn't want to be anymore a slave of my desk or having a supervisor who I feel like doesn't know anything, or just having that 9 to 5 grind for the rest of my life. I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to be independent. I wanted to run my own business, but I really never knew what I want to do with my life. And I stumbled onto trading. I got some trading education. I found some real traders who kind of former Chicago Mercantile Exchange traders, Wall Street traders, who taught me trading. And then after some time, I realized, wow, I can make consistent income with trading. And long story short, then I quit my job. And ever since, I'm a full-time trader now since close to 11 years.
What kind of income do you make?
Well, it depends. And when it comes to income, we would measure it not based on dollar amount. So we could get like really deep into this, but I could get really nerdy, but I'm trying to be because this podcast is watched not necessarily by traders. So when it comes to income, we measure income not based on monetary values, but more on risk to reward values, on reward. So whatever you risk, you're trying to achieve 2 times the risk. So 1 to 2 risk to reward proposition, 2 times the risk. So per trade. So if I risk today $10,000 on a trade, I'm trying to get at least $20,000 out of it. That would be 2 Rs, right? And the goal for me as a trader, whatever I risk, is 2 Rs per month on average. So meaning accumulated over a whole year, it's like 2 times 12. So it's between 20 and 24 Rs. So that's why everybody then can, kind of in their mind calculate what they want to achieve in terms of trading. Because that's really, by the way, that's really achievable. That's not rocket science. Achieving only 2 Rs per month on average.
Which is 2 times your money.
Which is 2 times the risk per trade.
Well, that's 2 times the money.
Yeah, but I'm not risking all my money, right? If I have, let's assume I have let's make some simple math. Let's assume I have a $10,000 account, all right, and I'm risking $1,000. That's my risk per trade. I'm not risking the $10,000. By the way, that's why trading is so great, because trading is always calculated risk. I always know, but if you do it professionally, you always know what you risk, and you risk like a small percentage or a small dollar value based on your overall account.
But if you get successful, why wouldn't you risk it all?
Because trading is always probability. And losing, when it comes to trading, you have winning trades, and you have losing trades. Losing trades are part of the business. Nobody in the world has a long-term track record with 100% win rate, meaning with 100% win-loss ratio. A good trader has maybe a 60-40, 50-50 win-loss ratio. Good traders, they make money through risk-to-reward proposition. Because imagine, now I risk $10,000 per trade, right? And let's assume I have 10 trades, all right? Now, and let's assume I have a 50-50 win-loss ratio, okay? I win 50% of my trades, I lose 50% of my trades. But with every trade I win, I make a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio. So I don't make only 10K, I make 20K. But when I lose only 10K, right? So I lose 5 trades, which I lost 50K.
5K.
50K. So, but I win also 5 trades. But all 5 trades are 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio, which is then 20K per trade. So
but you put 10 up, so you're only up 10.
No, but I make 20,000.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You make 20 grand?
I make 20 grand.
So if you were to cash out, you'd take out 30?
I cash out 20.
Which is only 10 more than you had in the first place.
Well, no, this is the 10K. This is only the deposit because we are trading leveraged markets, right? I make literally 20K and the 10K on top goes back to my account.
Okay, so if you were to cash out, you'd get 30.
Yes, but the 10K I had obviously already.
Yeah,
it's from my account. It's the 100, if it's like a 100K account, it stays 100K plus 20 on top.
Right. So why wouldn't that be considered 3 hours? Because you're really getting...
But it's considered, in trading, it's considered 2 hours. In trading, it's considered 2 hours. You make 2 times your risk.
Right.
That's how trading works.
Yeah.
So to finish this, to complete this calculation, you make 100 grand, but you lost a 50 grand.
So you're net 50.
You're net 50, exactly. But you have a 50-50 win-loss ratio. You lost 50% of your trades. And that's why when it comes to trading, it's very important. It's great that we have this discussion in the very beginning. Only 2 KPIs matter, key performance indicators. It's your risk to reward proposition and your win-loss ratio. But your risk to reward proposition weighs so much higher than your win-loss ratio. Actually, win-loss ratio, you don't necessarily have to care a lot because you can even have like a
30%.
Exact. And that's the point. And you can push the risk to reward proposition even higher to 1, 2, 3, right? If you're really good at it.
So how much do you risk every day?
I'm not a day trader.
Every
right?
week.
So every
swing.
week. So I would say I risk roughly $20,000 per trade, right? And then you can do the math. So I achieve my targets between 20 and 24 hours per year. And you know, when during the introduction you said like I'm a fully verified trader, la-di-la-di-da. So with all the prop firm capital, we can talk about what is prop firm because right, people usually don't know that, especially not people who are not aware of trading. So in the past 1.5 years with prop firm capital that I was managing, I was making close to $1 million, actually $950,000, $980,000 just with trading, and trading not with my own capital, but with prop firm capital.
Which I don't know what it is.
Exactly, but we can get into that.
Because, what I'm trying to find out is the average guy not the desperate guy, but the average guy.
It's important
the average guy that has, let's say he's saved up 20 G's in his bank account. And he's like, dude, I've always thought about how do I get into this trading? But every time I start to get into it, I think, dude, there's got to be a catch, because if everybody could do it, everybody would be doing it. Why do you hear all the horror stories about Forex trading and day trading? And like, I'm sure there's 100% lost days. No?
100% lost days.
Yeah, where like you place 5 and you lose all of them.
Well, that would, losing 5 trades would be in a row would be considered a big losing streak.
You mean that's not normal? That doesn't happen often?
Not for me, but for the random guy, most probably yes, 100% actually.
Yeah, so how does a random guy?
Yeah, and and again, this is like a very philosophical discussion, because first of all, the problem with trading is that it's so accessible for everyone, right? You, Brad, you can just now open up a brokerage account, right? Deposit some money with your Visa card, and within like 60 minutes, you could place a trade, and then you call yourself a trader. But that's the problem, because in trading, there's no real accreditation system. There's no real certification system. You cannot call yourself a doctor if you don't have if you didn't go to university and have like a certificate. You cannot call yourself a pilot. You cannot call yourself an engineer. They're all like proper accreditation systems behind these jobs. But being a trader is also a job. But for trading, for whatever reason, there's no real accreditation system, because everybody, maybe it's designed that way, but again, this is a different story, can access the markets. right? Which is a good thing, but also maybe a little bit of a bad thing. That's why you hear so many bad stories. And then why you hear like if you look at brokerage account statements and, the small print where it says like 80%, 90% of all traders lose money. I don't consider them traders. These are market participants who just place their first trade without having any skill. Because trading
How
is a
many
skill.
people do you think actually do that? They just say, screw it, I'll just go learn on my own. Because who taught you?
Everyone.
So you sought out information. You didn't just start trading.
I never just exactly. So because I also have a university background, I have a normal business degree. And so I always thought, hey, and I have, from a family background, I've seen bad investments, market investments, that I thought, all right, I better avoid that. So I better, before I always had that mindset, before I invest my money or trade my money or give it to somebody to trade with, let me better understand what I'm doing here, because otherwise I'm just gambling. And most people we are in Vegas here, so they take the market basically as a casino or slot machine. They just want to have that one single good trade and kind of solve all the issues that accumulated throughout their life through trading, right? So for them, it's like another way of casino because it's so accessible, right? And in trading, it's like you press either the buy or the sell button. So it's like a 50-50 chance, kind of, quote unquote.
Well, what kind of research are you doing to determine which to pick?
Oh, wow. Obviously, you need a strategy. So I'm trying to answer that as I don't want to go into, the nerdy trading strategy talk. If somebody wants to hear me talk about that, they can go on my own YouTube channel.
By the way, what is your YouTube channel? Because a lot of people are going to want to.
Bernd Skorupinski, just my full name.
Bernd Skorupinski on YouTube, guys. He'll teach you for free in a lot of cases, but he's also got this online trading education platform where he goes deep and takes people that are serious and.
But I do this also already on my YouTube channel, so I teach part of my trading strategy. So in general, you need a trading strategy, and it's important that whatever strategy you use, it has to be objective. So it's because everything that is objective can be repeated, right? Mm-hmm. And only if it's objective, you can start becoming consistent in your approach, and that therefore you can become a consistently profitable trader, right? Because most of these people who just open up a brokerage account and just deposit some money, they place trades based on gut feel or on news or on tweets, right? Which is very, very subjective, which can sometimes...
So what do you base it on?
Based on, let's call it market mechanics, an objective set of rules. So you need an objective set of rules that are repeatable, that you look at, that it's literally black and white, and you follow that process. It's like a trading, like the real skill trading, it's like a process. It's very boring, to be honest. Trading has to be boring, right? Because you're dealing with money. It cannot be you cannot have that casino rush, right? Excitement, fear, greed.
Well, like one time back when COVID was coming out, I heard that Bill Gates owns Moderna. And I'm like, well, if that mofo owns Moderna, I'm buying Moderna. And so I bought some Moderna. Sure enough, it went up.
That was a very good, in this case, in hindsight, was a very good subjective call, but it's not repeatable. Right? It's not It's not repeatable.
It's not. You can't be consistent because I don't consistently get COVID and shit happening.
And you don't have consistently these kind of quote unquote insider information, right?
No, that wasn't insider information. That was public information.
This was public information, but you cannot always have these kind of information throughout the year and throughout the years and throughout the weeks and throughout the months that you can consistently make income with that kind of information. That's what I mean.
Now, why are you in Dubai?
Why I am in Dubai? I moved to Dubai in 2009. So more than 16 years ago. I moved there immediately after my studies.
Do you have your gold card or your gold visa or whatever they
yes, they called it a gold visa. Yeah.
You have that?
Yeah, but I'm not a resident yet. I'm not a local. I'm a resident, but not a local. Yes, because you don't get the citizenship regardless of how long you live there, right? They keep it for themselves. But yes,
the gold visa,
the gold card, yes, exactly.
Almost as good.
It's good. Yes, of course. It's like perfect. Yeah.
Buddy of mine got one of those, and he's like, "Yeah."
Oh.
Does that mean anything? Like you're allowed something that
you're
visitors aren't, or what?
No, you just have a residence visa for like more than 10 years. Otherwise, if you have a company, you have to always renew the visa every 2 to 3 years as well. So it's just like hassle free. You just basically can live there, quote unquote, forever, right? So I moved there right after my studies because I just, I came somewhere into Dubai 2007, the first time, or was it even earlier, on family vacation with my family. This was, I think, the last vacation that I'd ever took with my family. And it's just something, stick to me. I liked the progress that they were making. Even back then, the vision of Dubai. To be honest, I like the weather as well. I'm like similar to here out in Las Vegas. It's like 365 days sun. You're exactly at the ocean. It's easy, simple to make business. They want you to come. It's safe. Dubai has just a lot of benefits that I really value.
But here in the United States, if you get inside information, you go to jail. Is the same thing? Do you have the same rules there? Like, in other words, do I have an advantage of living in Dubai trading versus the United States? Do I have the same abilities?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I could live here and do the same thing you're doing.
100%. So you can do it. 100%. You can, if that's your question, you can live anywhere in the world, and you could do exactly the same thing I'm doing.
So all I need is a laptop. How much money do I need to start? Just to start.
That's a good question. So yes. So obviously, what we know from movies that you need like multiple screens and like you need to be a tech expert and you need super advanced software is really not true. You just need a laptop to get started, or like just a monitor, because these days software is based on your web browser, whatever you use, Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, and you just open up your web browser and then type in the URL, and then you have access to the trading platform. That's why it's so easily accessible, right? We haven't talked about learning the skill, but it's easily accessible for everyone, just a laptop. And then when it comes to getting started, and that was always in the past, the problem of trading is like, or the challenge that people have is lack of capital, right? Because a normal person puts maybe $1,000 in their trading account, right? So if you make between 1% and 5% a month, which is realistic numbers. Again, we have to talk maybe separately about percentage gains, because there's also some problem with percentage gains, but let's keep it simple. If you make between 1% and 5% a month, on that, so 1% on that $1,000, it's like nothing, right? It's like $10, right? And even
50.
if 50 if you do like 5%. But if you let's assume even if you put $10,000 in a trading account, 5% is $500, right? A month, which is not life-changing money. So that's why people usually, they over-leverage themselves.
And you'd have to risk it all.
No, you risk. That's
doing the risk thing.
The risk to reward thing, exactly.
So
you always know what you risk, because you risk based
percentage of your balance.
Whatever you balance.
So if you put in $100,000, why do you need 100 if you're only going to risk 10? Why don't you just put in 10 and risk 100% of it?
Potentially you could, if you trade leveraged markets. In the stock market, it doesn't necessarily, but if you trade leveraged markets, you need leverage behind it. You could do that. So that's why trading with leverage is a very efficient way to make money, because you don't have, if you only want to risk $10,000, you're absolutely right. You don't need to put $100K into your account.
But you need to put 10 in there.
But you need to put a little bit more, because
fees
fees, the deposit for the markets that you trade, etc. So you need always to put a little bit more money in your trading account to take I always when we talk about leveraged markets, I would always recommend if you really take if you want to take $10,000 risk per trade, then put at least $50,000 in your account, right? Just to be able to manage everything.
See, this is why people don't do it, because it's complicated.
No, and I want to, no, exactly.
Well, that makes no sense to me. Here's how I think.
Okay.
Dude, you got me convinced. I'm going to freaking open up a trading account and I'm going to freaking do what you taught me. So I'm willing to risk, let's say 50 G's. Now I either lose the 50 G's and I tried, or I start with 50 G's and the next thing you know, I got 56 G's and then I got 71 G's, then I got 82 G's. And then at the very end, someone goes, how's it going? I'm like, shit, dude, I've got 94 G's. I started with 50. Just like business. I've done it with businesses where I'm like, okay, I got 10 grand. I'm going to start this business. I put 10 grand in the bank. When that 10 grand's gone, we better have some revenue. 10 grand never gets gone. Why? Because it was successful. Like it went from 10 grand, went down to 3,100, and then check came in, and then it was 12 grand, and then it went down to 8,200, and then the check came in, it went to 15. In other words, I never ran out of money. I built companies with 10 grand, but obviously sales, I wasn't trading. It was like, you better go sell this stuff.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, I'm thinking, okay, trading, that would be a hell of a way to make a living if I could. I'd risk 50K. Now what I'd do, put 50K in an account, and I'd say, okay, I need to place 50K and see what happens. So it's either I'm going to lose it or I'm going to win it. And if I lose it, well, do I want to put in another 50K? What confuses me,
because you have that capital.
Yeah, but
because you have that capital, but people don't have that capital, right?
I know, but what confuses me is if I'm willing to risk 50K, why do I need to put 80K in?
You don't necessarily have to, right? But
then why wouldn't?
But let me explain.
Then why would
it gets very technical. Because you are trading. If you look at what market does everybody know in the States? Dow Jones, right? Dow Jones futures is YM, right? We get technical now. So you're not just, if you want to trade, because then you have to trade contracts, right? But so when you trade futures, so you're not just buy the Dow Jones and risk 50,000 and hope it goes up. You're placing, you're anticipating, and then you do this with a strategy. You're anticipating an area of the Dow Jones, right? A price area, right? That in this area, price has to go up. If price doesn't go up in this area,
the world ends.
No, and it goes lower, then you might get stopped out. So you're losing what you risk for that trade. So your analysis was basically wrong in that case. So you're moving to the next trade, but you're never risking all the capital that you have, which would mean it's a very inefficient way, because you would just stay in that trade forever and hope that at some point in time it goes up.
That's what I would do.
Exactly.
But that's not really trading, that's investing.
That's more like investing, exactly. And you do this with stocks where and you do this with stocks where you...
Have you tried that?
That's also investing, trading. It's like financial markets. I do all of that as well.
Okay,
right?
For the layman, because that's me, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to say it like this is a fact, but I'm just stating it that way so you can correct me.
Yes.
Trading is basically saying, okay, I think that is going to go up.
Or down. Because you can, in trading.
I'm going to bet on it.
Exactly.
So if I'm right, it went down, I win, or whatever. Investing is I'm going to buy that stock and hopefully it goes up or down. What's the difference?
Because in trading, the casual watcher of this podcast might also not know that in trading, you can make money on both sides, right? That's why it's also economy proof. You don't care whether there's a recession next year or the year after, because you can make money on the downside as well. You can anticipate the market to go down. You can short the market, sell the market to enter, and you can make money on the downside as well. And usually this is faster made money because the market drops faster than it rises, right? So just for the casual viewer, you can anticipate the market in general to go up, any market, and you can anticipate the market to go down and make money on both sides.
So what if I'm aware of a stock, publicly traded company, and I just believe that, man, they're going to end up getting government contracts because their product is so amazing. I use it. Everyone uses it. I love it. I think everyone's going to love it. And I buy that stock.
Exactly, yeah.
That's investing.
That's investing. And you hold it. And you basically...
So what's trading?
Well, trading, you do it's like way more shorter period. You trade very shorter periods, right?
So it's temporary investing.
Temporary investing. And you have always an entry point. You have every trade consists of 3 elements. You have an entry. In stocks, usually you just buy and hold, right? And you hope it goes up. That's investing. They call it also hodl, right? You hold it until your dear life.
Yeah, because just for people listening,
exactly.
If you bought any, not individual stock, but a section like tech or the whole market, like the Dow or the S&P.
Exactly.
If I buy across the board the S&P and I put $100,000 in it and it goes down, 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 and I'm like, oh my God, I'm losing all my money. As long as you just hold it, it'll come back.
But how do you?
It's never not come back. The S&P is never, ever, it's always increased over time.
Over time, exactly.
Yeah, so it goes up and down, but if it goes down, you're just out of business for 10 years. 10 years later, it's back up.
Yeah.
And so there's your money again because you didn't sell. When you're going down and you sell because you're scared, don't do that. Just hold it or buy more even because it will come back up, right?
Potentially, yes, and history has shown it.
History has shown it's always
the case.
Always.
Right? We could talk about this as well. I mean, I think the podcast would go too long. There are years you should not necessarily buy. But the problem is that it's not for if you have a lot of capital, right? If you have, and for you it's simple, right? Because you just put $100,000 here, $200,000 there, right? $1 million there, and you just... you are okay with that amount of money, with that amount of investment, you're okay with making 10%, 12% a year, what the stock market in the long run can achieve. But for the general public to make 10% on a $10,000 account, and that's the whole point, is not really sufficient. They cannot change their life with a $10,000. If they put $10,000 in the S&P or in the Dow Jones and they make 10% return a year, it's not.
They're still working.
It's exactly. It's not really efficient. But with trading, you can use leverage, right? And you can double basically. That's the risk to reward proposition per trade that you can get, and plus you can get funded as well. So the whole prop firm. That's why what you said in the beginning, that I'm the all-time record holder of FTMO, right? What does this even mean? So what is a prop firm? So prop firms, they fund you. Meaning you pay a small fee and then you get funded. So for FTMO, for instance, you get funded up to $400,000. Then you can trade with that capital. The good thing, like with prop firms, you get funded with that capital. Now I can risk. So let's assume I have that, $400,000 in capital. Now with prop firms, if you lose money, you don't, because we had this discussion before the podcast briefly. You said now I can lose that $400,000. No, actually not. With prop firms, you're trading the firm's money, meaning you can, whatever you lose, the firm covers for it. You don't cover for the losses.
Why would a firm do that for you? Why wouldn't they just invest their own money? Why are they letting you invest theirs?
Well, it's basically also to find talented trader. There are enough talented trader out there to make money for them, because if you make profits, then there's a profit split, right? You don't keep everything of the profits, you split it with the firm.
Yeah, but anyone can do that. So how do they know if you're talented?
Well, that's why these days you have machine learning, you have AI, you have technology, and the system, the prop trading system in the back end can clearly define pretty quickly whether you are a profitable trader, whether you're trades that you're placing is rooted to the real market, or whether you're like not you're a gambler, because everybody can get funded. And there are basically some tests that you have to do beforehand, usually, right? There are some ways how you can, that's called instant funding. You pay a little bit higher of a fee and then you get instantly funded. But usually in prop firms, you have like a test. You have to pass that test. It's like a driver license, right? So it's like, I passed that driver license, okay, and now the firm gives you money for a small fee, and then you can trade that money. And so for the people out there, who lack capital, the prop firms is a way to get more capital, trade with more capital, and then making smaller returns like 1 to 5%. Now on a $400,000 account, making 1% a month. And 1% is really achievable.
Yeah.
It's $4,000. And now we talk about life-changing money.
Wow.
Right? For
some.
For some. For the mainstream. We talk
It's definitely a nice source of additional income for 15 minutes of work.
100%. We are not talking about, the 5% of the world population. We are talking about the people who struggle making money.
Yeah.
Right?
So if I'm listening, I'm thinking, okay, so how much do I need to get started realistically? So number one, how much do I need to get started? And then number two, I'm thinking, how long is it going to take me to learn everything you have to teach me? Because like, obviously if it takes me 6 months to learn everything, I got to factor that in.
That's the second question. Like both questions are very valid questions. So how much capital to get started? I would say anything between $1,000 and $5,000. You can get started easily, and then get instantly funded with like even up to $180,000, $200,000 in capital, right?
And so how long would it take me to learn enough to deploy it and be profitable?
That's a really good question. And if I gave you now a fixed number, roughly, yeah, I'm just telling you, if I gave you now a fixed number, whether it's month or years, it would not be professional from my side, because I have to factor in you as an individual, how much time you can really afford. Are you the single mom who has like a full-time job and 2 kids and tries to learn trading on the side? Or are you like the bored student who has like all the time in the world? So we have to factor that in. So I would say in general, a good guideline is if you really put some effort into that, it's like, and if you're completely new to trading and you have never seen charts before, and this is like, wow, this is like completely new to me, I would say, and you can really dedicate like a little bit of learning time on a daily basis. So on average, I would say an hour per day on average, right? Weekends, maybe more because you have to work during the week. I would say a year is a good guideline to get like, see after a year, like really consistency. Because trading, again, and it's a year. Imagine this is like a skill, a brand new skill that you learn, right? Any other skill, whether it's you learn playing the piano or become a pilot or like a lawyer, usually takes way, way, way longer than just a year. I'm just saying as a guideline. Of course, you evolve as a trader and you become better, like with any other skill in the world.
How do you become better? Because you see trends or you notice things?
Data, just experience in a way, exactly.
So have you ever like saved your students from losing a shitload because they said, hey, look, Bernd.
They can follow me. They follow me. Yeah,
look what I did. And you go, no.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, part of what I do, what we do, and even what I sometimes do on YouTube, I'm giving market predictions, trading live for the community, so they can literally follow what I'm doing and copy what I'm doing, and they should not do the opposite of what I'm doing or what I'm telling them, so they can follow along. Basically,
And you're being one of the most successful. How can I lose if I'm just doing what you're doing?
Yeah, that's the point, right? So of course I have losing trades as well. And people tend to, what happens is obviously you have to follow along and you would need to copy every single trade. And usually people don't do that, right? You have.
Well, I would only because.
If you could, if you have the time and if you could, and if you
How
are
much
like.
time?
Yeah, no, I mean, if you could and if you follow along and you got skilled and you say, okay, I'm following and this is what people are doing. and then they're getting quite successful.
Isn't timing matter?
No, that's why in day trading, timing matters, right? Because sometimes people trade the US market opening. That's their strategy. So they trade only when the US market is open. So then timing matters because you have to sit in front of the screen while the US market opens. It's a specific time. With our strategy or with my strategy, again, it's like more midterm, it's swing trading. You just place your trade and let it play out. Right? So timing doesn't necessarily matter. You just have to have like 30 minutes on average a day, and then you can place your trades, right? And then you let the markets do its thing, because whether you are like sitting in front of the screen or not, the market will anyway do what it's supposed to do. You cannot control the market. You placed your trade beforehand. Everything is done. And that's the nice thing about trading. You do the analysis in advance. And then you place your trades, your entry, your stop loss, where you are out for your risk profile, right? And you place your target in advance. So again, we have 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio on average. So let's assume you risk $50,000 per trade. If you are out, if you're in your price comes into your entry, you're in the trade. Now you have $50,000 at risk. If it goes down to your stop loss, you're out for that calculated risk. Right? That's why I would always say trading is less risky than any other business, because it's always calculated. You know what you have at risk. And if it goes your way and hits your target, you make 2 times your risk in this case.
And then you're out there too.
You're out there too.
So you don't get to ride it all the way up if it were to shoot through the moon.
Who knows? And that's the point. Who knows, right? It could also hit your target and then goes right back again. Or it could just come close to your target and goes all the way down. This is something called trade management. So we never know, right? It's all probability. You never really know.
What is the time for swing? Like day is obviously set it in the morning, watch it all day, sell.
Depends on where you're based, right?
Yeah, but like what's like your average, a week?
How long I hold a trade?
Yeah.
No, for me personally, it's between 30 and 40 days holding a position.
So when you buy a position,
it could be shorter, it could be longer.
How do you decide when to plug and run?
Exactly. And this is your skill. This is a strategy that you learn, Brad. This is a strategy, like exactly to look at the chart, to look at the market, analyze it upside down. And then based on your analysis, on the skill that you learned, you place those elements, your entry, your stop loss, and your target.
Do I need to be good at math?
No, you don't need to.
Do I need to have good intuition?
Look, I always say I'm not the smartest guy in the room, and I'm really not. I was average in school. It's like a skill.
Yeah, but with your accent, it sounds like you are. You got one of those German accents that, you sound like Einstein.
I don't know, but I'm really not the smartest guy in the room. I was always very average in whatever I did. I don't have a specific talent. I just learned that skill. And I always tell people, if you're able to follow rules, and trading is following rules, it's a process that you follow, that you learn. You learn to follow process from A to Z. That's why it's so boring if you know how to do it. And then you follow the rules, that process, the same process for every single trade. You're acting very robotic, ideally. Right?
It's like blackjack. You play blackjack?
I don't gamble. So I'm here in Vegas. I'm not planning to go to the casinos. I'm just walking around and I'm like just...
Well, like blackjack has
but
rules.
It has rules. There's some rules as well.
And you can buy a little card. They'll give them to you because, again, you're not going to continue to win if you keep playing blackjack. That's the bottom line. So, and that's what I'm worried about trading. Like, in other words, these millions that are being made, are they being lost the next day? People jump off buildings because they lost everything in the stock markets. I've never really gotten into the stock markets because I believe it's an inside game. In other words, there's people that know shit that you don't. And when you get in because of the hype, you're driving their value up, and then they're all press and sell right when the thing's skyrocketing because they know it's going to crash, and you don't. So like, to me, it's all gambling. And I still think that even after talking to you. So I want you to tell me why it's not gambling, because I think it is gambling, because like, you don't know what the hell's going on. You're guessing.
I'm not guessing.
Well, you're calculated guess.
I'm doing a calculated guess,
but it's still guessing.
It's
like sports. Well, like sports pickers.
No.
These guys in Vegas. They'll tell you. Call me for $1,000. I'll tell you who's going to win, bitch. If you knew who was going to win, you wouldn't be asking for $1,000. You don't know who's going to win. You're guessing. No. They're sports pickers, which means why is their pick better than my pick? Well, I'll tell you, because they know the coaches, they know the players, they know who's injured, they do their homework, but they're still guessing at the end of the day. There's no way to know who's going to win a damn
and of
game.
Course not, never.
Same thing with stocks.
Stocks, like let's not just say a specific asset class, just in trading. Of course you don't know. Nobody knows. But that's why it's like call it an educated guess. And as we also, I hope, established, you can win only 30 or 40 times, right? And lose even more than winning. But with having that key performance indicator, risk to reward proposition, that
which is leverage, yeah.
With this kind of leverage, with every winner, you make at least 2 times your risk. You can be wrong 60% at the time.
Yeah. Well, people need to factor that, because I knew an investor once. He was probably worth about $900 million bucks. And he'd put 10 million here, 10 million there, 10 million here, 10 million there. And he would always look for almost startups, not quite startups, but basically high risk. And I said, dude, like, aren't you worried these aren't going to make it? And he goes, dude, you only need 1 or 2 to make it. Like at where I'm doing it. So let's say you risk $50 million and 4 of them fail, right? 10 million each, 50 million you risk. 4 of them fail, but 1 goes to the moon, which again, you might lose all 5, but all you need is 1. Because that 1 will give you back 500 million or something to that degree. Similar to that.
No, because if I look at my data, or if you look at your data and you have, like, let's assume you have 10 trades and you lose 9 and you have 1 big winner, I would doubt that your strategy can achieve consistent results. That 1 winner, I would then, consider that's a lucky shot. But if you can over a long period of time, let's say a year, if you can have that 40-60 win-loss ratio, 40 winners, 60 losers. And on average, for every trade you took, a 1 to 2, or for every profitable trade you took, for these 40%, a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio, you 2 from 1, your KPIs are green. You're making money regardless.
Yeah,
right?
That makes sense.
And exactly. And that's why I always preach people, when it comes to trading, money is just a result of managing these 2 key KPIs accurately, right? So if you make sure that these 2 KPIs are being met, your average win-loss ratio, 40-60, in conjunction with your average risk-to-reward ratio, 1 to 2. So for every profitable trade, you make $2. If you risk $1, you make $2. At the end, you are making money.
Yeah,
you're making
I put all my money into that.
And you're exactly. And you can achieve that, right? If you have a working strategy that can achieve those KPIs. And your goal as a trader is to learn a strategy, whatever it looks like. We keep it vague because it's like, it's not a trading podcast. We could go into that as well, but we don't have enough time.
It's a trading podcast today.
Today, it's like a hardcore trading podcast. But for you, you manage you learn a strategy, a skill that basically can meet these 2 KPIs, and then you can consistently, and then you can make consistent income with trading, and then you can scale capital. That's trading.
Okay, so 11 years so far. That's a serious commitment. A lot of people have tried trading, lost money, and quit. So walk us through, how did you get started? What did you lose in the beginning and just power through? Did you just why did you not quit, and why did you not lose money? And most people do.
Sure, losing is part of the game. Let's face it. Losing is part of the learning curve, and everybody has to factor that in as well, right? But if they don't lose, if they don't have an all-in attitude, where they lose all their money, right? Then you can survive that game. So you have to start from the very beginning very professionally and risk only the money that you can afford to lose, right? Makes sense. So I think, I always, when it comes to my own journey, the way how I treated trading was really like, okay, Bernd, you're starting now. You become now from a corporate slave, from a 9-to-5 job, you're starting your own business. Because that's what trading is. You're becoming an entrepreneur, in this case, an online entrepreneur. In the beginning, it's like a startup, very small business, but eventually you want to scale it up. And you are your only employee, right? You're the only variable when it comes to trading. Now, for me, it's like, you better make it work because I want to trade like my life depends on it. That was always my, call it motto, call it like slogan, trade like your life depends on it. Because if I mess it up, then I have to go back to the corporate world. You get my point? And I never wanted to go back to the corporate world. So I always took it very serious. And since it's like really a business by itself and like you're an entrepreneur, you can compare it to any other business as well, meaning not everybody is made to be an entrepreneur. And you know that as well, right? You know that better than I do, that not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur.
I don't believe everyone can because of their own limitations, but I do believe everyone should be an entrepreneur.
I feel you, and I'm absolutely...
I can't believe people are willing to work for me. I can't believe people are willing to work for the restaurants I go in, but then you realize like not everybody thinks the same way.
Exactly.
But if someone were to say, hey, Brad, what do you think? I think everyone should be an entrepreneur, 100%. Even on the side. Like, hey, have your full-time job to get your little stability and your bills paid. But if you're not in a position to receive commission, which means have a business of some kind, then you're never going to make it. And that is not an option for me, which is why I am an entrepreneur, because I was like you. I am not going to work for someone else my entire life and be basically told when to show up, when I can leave, whether or not I can spend 5 extra days on a vacation. Like, dude, sometimes I've been on vacation and I got to go back because like I got to go back to work. So we were having so much fun and it's like my family wanted to stay and I'm like, sorry, we got to go back. Well, can we stay 3 more days? My boss said no. So now my boss is my boss. I'm like, why can't I be the boss? Well, you can. Grab your nutsack, roll the dice. And people won't do that. And then they'll hear a show like this. We're going to inspire some people. You're going to get a whole bunch of people that go to your YouTube channel. They're going to thank me, some of them. Some of them will hate me. I went to Bernd and I got burned. Yeah. Hey, I went and got burned.
That's a typical American joke. No, but
because of you. And I'm going to go, dude, it wasn't because of me. Because, hey, like I already told you, I am personally going to go check out your content, and I will risk some money, but I have some to risk. And that's a choice I make. And by the way, I am going to. Why? Well, because again,
I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, I've always wanted to get into day trading, not for a full-time living, but because again, I know people that are successful doing it. But I've also known people that said, yeah, I tried it and it failed and it was bullshit. Well, dude, only because I know the world, it may not have been bullshit. You may have been bullshit.
True,
you didn't do this. You weren't listening. Exactly. You had a gut instinct.
Exactly.
All this shit. Did you do what they told you to do? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is no.
Exactly.
But then again, there are bullshitters out there.
100%.
So if I showed up at your house and looked in your bank account, are you evidence of that it's possible? Or do you make more money teaching people than actually doing it?
Well, I think it's evident that I have all these verified records, right? Track records. And this is very important to me as well. Because as you said, when it's trading, there's no accreditation system. Everybody can talk about trading. Everybody can bullshit, right? Everybody can make a YouTube channel and watch 2 YouTube videos, read a trading book, and then they can philosophize about trading. And then, people are, because they know even less. the viewers, and they can, wow, this guy sounds smart, so he must be right. And that's why, from the beginning, when I became famous in my niche, in my trading niche, I tried everything that is possible to get like to kind of be the needle in the haystack, to get like all my data verified, to trade for these prop firms, to get like then my data verified by these prop firms, right? And then go to like third-party verifiers that work also closely, by the way, to the, like what you said in the beginning, alpha performance verification services. They work also with the SEC and also with interactive brokers, like the biggest brokers in the world. And let my data that I accumulated over a year, that I let them verify it, like third-party verification. And I like have these certificates. And this is kind of what...
Do you have to show bank accounts?
Trading statements, yeah, trading statements. Obviously, the whole trading statement.
Are those public?
They're public, absolutely. You can even have them. You can have all of them. You can even call these verifiers, say, is that Bernd results legit? And they will tell you,
Yeah, so let's say I went to them and I looked. Have you made more money trading than teaching people to trade?
We also, obviously, we make money. It's like just like diversifying. And I'm like open.
I know, but
it would be a bad business, right? It would be a bad business if you have like teaching people and you have like a whole company. We have like we have a whole trading floor in Dubai. We have a trading floor in one of the most iconic buildings in Dubai. So we have like a team of over 40 people like working for us.
What's funny is people that know you or heard of you because they're traders are going to listen to this and they're going to be like, Brad, you know who you're talking to?
Yeah, exactly. But it's fine. It's why it's. I like these critical questions because that's what people ask. Like, hey, like, look, there's like the channel question is, hey, and this is why, if you're such a good trader, why are you selling stuff, right? Why are you offering courses?
Because you're trying to help people. I've never questioned that, but here's what I do question. If you're such a successful trader, how come you don't make any money trading, but you're making millions teaching people how to trade? Now, that's where I go, wait a minute. Because people ask me all the time, because this company is a software company that helps people monetize their knowledge. I've got some of the biggest names making millions of dollars through my software. By the way, I don't know how you teach people, but you should be doing it with Lightspeed. But beside the point, I'll close you some other time. But a lot of people ask me because I have a lot of the big names going and, well, who's a scammer and who's bullshit? And all I say to people is, listen, if you have a suspicion that they're full of shit, just ask them to see their bank accounts, not the ones that are from the training. Okay, you might be making millions training people.
Educating
Look at
people.
the bank account from what it is they claim to be good at. So like, for example, if you said, Brad, let me see your bank accounts at Lightspeed, you will see millions of dollars come in per year. Lightspeed makes millions of dollars per year. I built this company. That's a fact and an evidence. So again, clear evidence I can build a company. So now if I said to you, let me teach you how to build a company, show me your company's financial statements. Now, if I do that and it is evidence, well, then I would say now you can invest in this guy's training. So if someone were to say to me, Brad, what do you think of Bernd? Well, I'm doing it because what am I going to lose? Like 50 grand? Who cares?
You don't care.
But I'm going to do it because I met you first. I don't know a bunch of Forex and traders and swing traders and stock traders. I don't know any. I've met them. I've heard about them. I've seen them online claiming. Actually, no, I do know one. And he seems like a good dude, by the way. But anyway, I digress. That's the reason I'm asking. Because if I look at your trade statements, is that what they're called?
Trade record, trade
so if I look at your trade records and you've made millions of dollars yourself, well, now maybe,
exactly.
Guess what? I think I can trust you to pay you to train me.
And that's the whole point why I I'm doing it up to this date, verify my data, right? And this is super important especially in this profession.
How many people are out there training people how to trade that are full of shit, basically percentage-wise, in your opinion?
Like, if I don't sugarcoat anything, I would say 95%.
Yes,
if not more.
Yeah, so
it's like completely to use your language, full of shit.
Yeah, so that's what I'm getting at. Like, and they're already thinking it.
Yeah.
They just don't realize
that's the problem. And you know what? And this is what, you know, and we real traders, we have to justify for that.
Do you ever have traders who train people how to trade come to learn from you and then regurgitate what they learned to their class?
Can you repeat that? Like, how do you mean that?
Like, based on what you just said, 95% of the people claiming they can teach you how to trade successfully are full of shit, which means out of 100, there's only 5 that can actually do it.
Exactly.
And that's kind of what I feel like too.
100%. Yeah.
Now, I'll just take your word for it because I haven't verified anything, but let's pretend you're one of the 5. You're a legit son bitch. Okay. That means 95 of these people aren't very good. Scammers. Now, have any of those guys smart enough to go to you, one of the 5% that actually know? And so, like, let's say I'm telling people I'll teach them how to trade, but I'm one of the scammers. So what I do is I go to you, I let you teach me, and then I regurgitate it to my audience, and now I'm not full of shit anymore. Have you ever had that happen?
Oh yeah, there's actually, so this happens all the time. Our content is getting, you know, like stolen, and like people take our content and sell it,
claim it's theirs,
claim it's theirs. But there was like this, in hindsight, this funny story that happened, I think last year, or actually whether it was last year or 2 years ago. So when I was still very small on social media, I had like 5,000 YouTube subscribers. I was almost not existent, but I had already prop trading success. So I got my third-party verified results. And you get like these certificates, these online certificates where, and I have them on my mobile, I can show you later, it's funny, where you have these online certificates from that firm, and there's a QR code on that certificate. So people can literally scan the QR code, and then they get like routed to like the real third-party website, and then like the same certificate shows up on their website. So it's kind of, okay, that's a real certificate, right? So one really famous social media trader back in the days from Miami, like really famous guy, took my certificate, and this is like went viral, and this is how this was a good PR move at the end, went viral, and it's still online. He removed my name from that certificate, added his name, but he left the QR code on that certificate. And then he posted it online and said it was like a $60,000 monthly return, like profit certificate. So he posted it, hey guys, I made $60,000 with that prop firm. I'm a great trader. And then people were obviously scanning the QR code, and it led to my certificate. And they were like, that's a fake certificate. And then people were like sending me over that certificate. And for that reason, I opened an X account, and I kind of called this guy out, and then went viral, 500,000 views. And ever since, you know, people know me, you know, because the post went viral, and they know that this was an obvious scammer. And he was like an educator selling courses, stuff like that. Yeah. And this stuff happens all the time. And that's a problem in our industry, unfortunately.
An online training campus, which is yours, is a regulated consultancy. When you say regulated, what does that mean?
So in the UAE, you need obviously business licenses. And our business license is investment consultancy. That is authorized by, so we are allowed to give, I'm allowed to give you trading advice. So I'm allowed to tell you, hey, maybe it's a good time to buy the Dow Jones. Maybe it's a good time to sell XYZ. So I'm allowed to do that. Other people, they have to always have these disclaimers, and they're not really by law allowed to give you trading advice. But yeah.
So obviously, other than yourself, if you had a buddy and you were done, you retired, and he said, dude, how do I evaluate someone to learn from? How do I know if they're legit? What would you say to them?
Yeah, look, if this person has like some audited, third-party verified statements, certificates, whether it's prop trading, their own If they have their own broker statements, are they third-party verified? Because people do even some dodgy stuff with their own trading statements. So just check if he has some third-party verified trading results that are vetted and that like not only one or two, like consistent, a lot of them. So then obviously this person can achieve consistent positive results with trading, if this makes sense. And if this person has nothing to show and just shows some expensive watches and Lambos on their marketing, then it's already red flag. I mean, I believe that especially in the trading world, marketing reveals a lot. And if you start making, claims of, I bought this Lamborghini because I made just a shitload of money trading, that's, for me, as a professional, a big, big, big red flag.
There's a flag. What are the biggest myths and misconceptions about trading that you see most people believe?
Well, it's like what we covered already today, a lot of them, right? And I hope we uncovered a lot of them, that it's a skill that can be learned by everybody. You don't need to be the smartest guy in the room. You don't need a talent to become a trader. So it can be learned literally by everyone. It's nothing that you need to replace one 9-to-5 job with another 9-to-5 job. You don't need to spend whole day trading. You need on average 1 hour a day. And then the point of lack of capital, because these days with the prop trading, with prop firms, proprietary firms, you don't need a lot of capital to get started. You can get either instantly funded, or you do like one of these prop firms where you can just pass a test and then get funded, and then you can trade a lot of capital. So the lack of capital is not an excuse anymore. And by the way, and it is also, I think, really interesting that why trading is like the best side hustle for me in the world, is because trading is the only business in the world that is the only business in the world when you want to make more money, it doesn't require more of your time. To make more money in trading, the only variable is what?
Risk more money.
Exactly, risk more money, meaning to risk more money, you need more capital. So the only variable is never your time. Any other business, like physical business, right? And you can confirm that, I hope, Brad, that to build any physical business, you need to have more of your own time, right? Usually, right? But trading, it's not the case. It's only capital, and you can scale capital with prop firms. So these are all the myths that basically, floating around somewhere in the orbit. So, and obviously that you can make money on that. What people, the general audience, also might not know, it's recession proof, because you can make money on both sides of the market, up and down.
What do you think a beginner's biggest mistakes are? Like, what do beginners often do that's just wrong?
They start without education, right? They think they can figure it out themselves.
I almost did it the other day. I was getting ready to open up a trading account. I'm thinking, well,
but what's your mindset behind that? Because trading is any other business, right? Why would you
Because I want to get into trading.
Yeah, because it's so accessible.
And it sounds fun to me. It's almost like gambling. Like, I don't gamble, but
exactly,
that would be my form of gambling.
That's a problem, right? Because you would never jump off a building without being a skilled in knowing how to use a parachute, right? Would you do that? No, right?
No.
You would, exactly. But the same with trading. It's crazy because it's the same principle. Managing physical risk or managing financial risk. I see so many people, they jump off the building, so to speak, without having a parachute, without knowing how to use a parachute. And they end up being what? They make a little bit of money, so they feel like they have superpowers, but in reality, they are just lucky. What do you think they do the next time?
Well, there is no next time if they do it wrong.
Yeah, but if they do it right, what do you think they do the next time? They pick a bigger building, right? They risk more money. Well, there's no bigger building than the Burj Khalifa in Dubai,
There's about to be.
But in Saudi Arabia. But you get my point, right? They build up the risk, and eventually it will bite them in the butt, and the end result is worst off. You need to have, before you get started, while you get started, you need to build specialized skill.
Basic education, at least.
At least.
That's why I said I'm going to go to your online trading campus. Is that where it is? Onlinetradingcampus.com or something?
Onlinetradingcampus.com, yes.
Now, what percentage of people do you think that get in succeed?
You mean like in trading in general?
Yeah. Like what's the average? Like, out of 1 million people, 10% are going to make it.
Yeah, maybe like it really, you have to differentiate between people who take it serious or not serious, people who take
just on average
education. Yeah, maybe 10%. But
it's not likely you're going to make it unless you
do
your work.
Exactly. How likely it is, like you be successful in business if you don't do your work. How likely it is.
Unfortunately, everybody wants to look at blanket averages. So like, for example, there's things here called like MLM companies. So multi-level marketing. Well, they make you come out with these income disclosures so people don't get, basically lied to. Hey, everyone can make millions. It's easy to make millions. So you come up with this income disclosure. Well, the income disclosure says, well, the majority of the people are making $30. And you're like, wait a minute, you just said you're making millions. How the average person only makes 30. But what they don't understand with that example is those MLM companies are forced to include every single person that ever signed up, which 90% aren't doing anything.
Exactly.
So they're not doing anything, which is why they're not making money. But the way they force you to present it, it looks like nobody makes money. When in reality, if I only had to count the people that were actually doing it, this would raise up dramatically. So
I fully agree.
But based on that, like, do you think it's somewhat feasible for an average Joe that's working at a construction company that's listening to this, that has a little bit of money in the bank? You said 1 to 5,000. Like most guys that are socked a little money away got that. What's the likelihood that if they listen, do the work, pay attention, that they'll succeed? What's the likelihood?
If they do the work for at least a year, right? Then I think the likelihood is very, very high that they will eventually succeed and make consistent income with trading. How much? It's based on the capital.
Yeah, but on
with
that
prop
regard,
firms, they can use, exactly, on that regard, now these days they can use prop firms, proprietary firms, to scale their capital to an quote unquote unlimited amount, right? And then they can make money bases on that. So it's very, very likely.
And what's the benefit? Like time, what's the benefit? Like if someone, does the work, just like when they come to me about entrepreneur, I say, what's the benefit? You're gonna trade 80 hours for yourself from 40 hours from them, but you can also stay you're your own boss.
Time flexibility.
So how much time do you think you actually work doing trading per?
So that's why, I do all these things. That's why I travel the world and go on podcasts, go on these podcast tours, right? And, run now online trading education company, a prop firm as well with Campus Fund, like a whole ecosystem for traders. I do so many things because trading itself requires, like, literally the way we trade, the set and forget and get a live approach, the swing trading approach, not the day trading approach. Again, I want to make this clear again, takes you on average, literally, like, for me now, but as a professional, 15 minutes maximum. On the weekend, I do my analysis. I go through all the markets.
How long does that take?
An hour.
So a couple hours on the weekend, 15 minutes once, or 15 minutes every day?
50 minutes. Let's say an average 50 minutes every day, right? To manage the trades, to look at my trades.
So if you put the work in, get good, you pretty much can survive, make a good living, and not work much.
That's the goal, yes. But again, then we have to take into account that then you are already like, that's the end game. Then you're a professional, right? But building up to that takes sacrifice, time. I want to mention that it's really important.
Time studying or time
studying, your ass kicked? Time studying, sometimes getting your ass kicked as well. And it's like any other business and life, it's like a roller coaster. It doesn't go just straight up, right? Compare it. And I'd like to tell people, compare it with any other business in the world, right? It's kind of the same path that you have to go as well with trading, learning that skill. But once you made it, right, with any other business, or like especially then with trading, you have a lot of time at your hands on top. And this is what people want to achieve 2 things when it comes to trading. It's obviously financial freedom, but also time flexibility, time freedom. And with trading, that's why trading is so great. You can combine both if you do it right. Again, if you do it right.
And my last question, what are the traits of the people that you find that do the best at trading? What are the traits, character traits?
Yeah, character traits. Very simple. These are people who are disciplined and can follow rules. You have to be disciplined and follow rules.
Military.
I don't know. I've never been to military.
Well, usually people in the military, dude, they're very disciplined. They follow rules. That's what that's what they were trained to do.
Exactly.
And a lot of them get out of the military and then kind of don't know where to go, don't know what to do. So again, that sounds like the military. Keep going.
Yeah. So that's it. So if you can follow rules, if you're disciplined, you can actually become a good trader. It's like going to the gym, right? It's always, I see a lot of people, like this is a nice analogy when it comes to gym and trading. People, you see a lot of people, they put a lot of energy, intensity into like, let me change my overweight in like this 30-day program, and they do hardcore, go every day to the gym for 30 days, but then they're burned out and you never see them again in the gym. So it's like hardcore intensity. But then you see the people who are like building muscles and building like a good physique. They've done this throughout. How long did it take you to build that physique?
Yeah.
Years, right? Of consistency. And it's exactly the same with trading. You see people, they rush into the market, they are motivated for like a month, 2 months. But then they're like saying, it's maybe more difficult than I thought. It takes more time to build that nice physique, right? So it's like the consistency.
But just like the gym, just because you quit doesn't mean you couldn't have done it. Exactly. So again, what I would recommend to people is, if you're interested, again, go do your own homework. But he's got the receipts, he's got the website, he's got a free education, he's got the training program, he's got a trading floor, he's got all the receipts and the YouTube channel. So folks, just go find the dude if this interests you, Bernd Skorupinski. And by the way, I'll be out in Dubai again. I'll come visit you there. But before that, I'm also going to exchange info, and I'm going to start learning. But again, honestly, I'm going to do maybe an hour or 2 on the weekends. I'm not going to study every day.
You don't have the time, exactly.
But I'll check back and I'll have you back after I do it.
That would be amazing.
So you better take good care of me because I'll come back and say, dude, that guy's
You're gonna roast me. You're gonna roast me, right? So
because, dude, I'm kind of in the info game a little bit, and I've seen a lot of people that are. And 9 times out of 10, it's not the dude with the content that's full of shit. It's the people buying it, not executing, and then blaming the dude with the content. There are people out there that are just full of shit. Yeah. You can't help that. But a lot of people have killer courses, killer shortcuts, killer information, where if someone just freaking took the time, learned it, and then applied it, that's the part most people don't do. And instead of them taking personal responsibility, they want to blame the person who sold them a course or an education. They blame them. And it's like, dude, listen, when I went to freaking college, which I didn't, I paid them $80,000 and got my degree, and then got out and found out that fucking that degree don't get me shit. Right? I didn't blame Stanford. I didn't blame the university. How come all the universities aren't scams? Like, why doesn't everybody say, Harvard's a scam, universities are scams? Because again, that's society. You went to college, you got a degree. Now you got to go to work. Now you got to go put it to work. You can't blame the college. You got the degree. But that's what I think most people do. So Bomb Squad, what can we do? What can the Bomb Squad do for you? How can we help you?
Well, I always tell people, go check out my YouTube channel, consume my content if you like it or not. I'm putting a lot of really value out there. And if they like it, they find me, they can go on onlinetradingcampus.com. They can maybe get started with the education. But hey, consume my YouTube content, my free content. And if you like it, and then you can continue, right? I don't ask for more.
Well, that's fair. Hey, go get his free stuff. If you like that, cool. And if you don't, you ain't going to like his other stuff. Where do they follow you on Instagram?
Also my name, Bernd Skorupinski. Very simple.
Guys, it's BERND, Bernd Skorupinski's SKORUPINSKI. Links will be in the description. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Safe travels.
Thank you.
And hopefully you can accelerate my education so I can be
And I see you soon making money in the markets, right?
Let's go.
An educated guest.
Folks, there you have it. Until next time, keep it real.